Hello again, everybody. I'm Snapper Lancaster, welcoming you to another edition of the Central Alabama High School Sports Show. Different high school this week. That's what we've been doing all year long, ever since the road construction. They really did us a favor because now we've gotten the opportunity to go to many high schools and enjoy visiting with the coaches and the athletes. And we're going to be visiting with 3 coaches and their athletes here today at Thompson High School. And first of all, leading us off will be a coach that I've known many years and had associations with him here in Birmingham and on the highway, and of course we're talking about the coach of the Thompson Warriors, and Coach, awfully good to see you again, Coach Freeman, and what an outstanding year you and your team have had so far this year.
We have. We're very blessed and thankful to be in the position we're in right now, and just got a lot of football ahead of us. Got to keep getting better every day.
Well, Mark, I know you and I had talked just a little bit off camera, and one of the questions I really wanted to ask you, because it's curiosity about how the high school coaches do it. You got probably, and don't get me wrong, every game in the season's a big game. But you come in, hadn't been many times you and your team have come in a game this late in the season where both teams are undefeated. And that's what's happening, I think, when y'all are going to play. I think it's Mountain Brook, right?
Yes, sir.
Is it here at home?
Here.
And so talk about, if you don't mind, preparation week for you and such a big week. How much does it differ from any other preparation week as you get ready for, up to this point, this is the next biggest game of the season?
It is. Our kids, our players and coaches have done a great job, really my whole career, about talking about the day that you're in. I heard somebody talk at a banquet about being where your feet are and all that stuff, and I think there's value to that. And our coaches and our players have done a great job of being in the moment, being in the day. I can probably go back through records for the last 12 or 15 years. Our schedule really hasn't changed. The guys don't know this week that it's any different than week 1 was, and it's just worked good for us. I don't know that it works for everybody. It works good for us. We don't want to change the work. We will change the amount of reps maybe, but the timing, what we do, we feel like doing the same thing every day keeps the value every Friday night the same, because they are all the same value. If you don't think that, like Coach Stone said, lose one you're not supposed to lose. Right. And so this is the next opportunity. Today's practice is huge to our kids. We got to go out today and get better, and then Friday night, not put pressure on our kids. What we do week to week don't change much anyway, so we just, we feel comfortable letting our kids go play football.
Well, I know one of the big issues for any coach during a football season is injuries. And if you're fortunate enough not to have those major injuries, everyone's going to have nagging bumps and bruises all football season. That's football. But have you been fortunate to escape the injury bug, or if it has, it's affected your team minimum?
Well, we've been hit, with injury bug a little bit. I think you play in this region, and you hear it talked about, and me and Chris Yeager was talking about this Monday. You hear it, but the duration of every week having to play really good competition, and the teams are so well coached that you're playing against. There's no flukes, and so you have to be prepared, and you have to go in, and you're going to get, when you're winning, and you have won in the past like our guys have, you're usually going to get the other team's best shot. And so we're coming off a real physical game last week at Vestavia. Mountain Brook is always a physical game to us. So we lost, we lost one of my favorite kids the first week on the opening kickoff, Tristan Woody, and we've lost a couple since then to injuries, and that is part of football. But it's something you have to deal with, and that's part of the game. So we've been blessed that we've stayed relatively healthy, though.
Well, let me ask you this, and I think every coach deals with this, that they have surprises from one season to the next, and how the teams come together and play as well as they do, or manage to handle the adversity. Talk about your team from that aspect. One, have been fortunate enough you're used to winning here. But from one year to the next, you never know if the talent is going to be able to stay up to a certain level that you expect out of yourself and your players. So talk about that situation, and from one year to the next, has this year surprised you in any way, or have there been some disappointments, even though the record's still perfect?
No. When last year ended, we were going into this year with 9 new offensive starters, and I think 6 defensive starters. And normally you would say, and we are a little bit, I think we've overachieved in some areas. I think it's a deserved overachieving. Right. With us, a lot of our stuff starts at quarterback, and there's a lot of responsibility put on that player. They know it when they come through our system. But it's what I believe in. It's what we've done in the past. And so you start there with new quarterback Sawyer Pate, who has been there with us all along, has watched the last 2 years. We got ready to play in the semifinals and 2 years ago, and then the state championship last year. And he actually prepared that week to play because Talia was hurt and probably wasn't a go till the day before the game. And then so he wasn't really healthy in the game, so Sawyer got to play some in that game, so that helped. But the way that he attacked the off season, every day was a work day, and the way he did it in the weight room to in here working on his own and doing drills and getting himself better. So when I saw that, we had some experience. The 2 receivers come back had some experience. The O-line is all new except for one. Dylan Walker started some last year, so it would give us at times 8 guys that had a lot of experience. Trey Robertson was there and got hurt his arm last year. He only played 2 games, but he was going to be back for us a little bit. And so, yeah, we feel good about going in, how everybody is.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, like I said, so far you've had an outstanding season. Sounds like you've been pretty lucky as far as the injuries come and go, because you deal with them, whatever they are. But the most important thing is your program sounds like it's still as healthy as it's ever been. And what I mean by that is that your team's records or talent don't seem to drop off too much from year to year. Well, that has a lot to do with the man at the top, and that's you. And once again, congratulations on what's been a great season thus far. We both know far from over, because you don't know what lies ahead. But congratulations on what you and your team have been able to do this far. And we hope to see you and your team travel away, maybe all the way. That's, as the old saying goes, somebody's got to win that state championship. Might as well be Thompson,
Yes, sir.
But the mindset and you and your players, and I just want you to know, wish you all the luck in the world. Awfully good to see you again. And so I hope you and your players finish that season off strong, and I'm sure you will.
We will, Snapper, and I appreciate you and all that you have always done for high school football, and I appreciate the opportunity to just give, I know our players will too, give the Lord all the credit for what we've done here. It really hadn't been us. We're just following a great plan, and we're so blessed to be here. And thank you again for being here.
Well, good luck down the road, Coach. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. We come back, a couple of players very instrumental in the outstanding season Thompson has had thus far. We'll be right back.
Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven. A taste of heaven is always best. Now you know that you're blessed. Give your taste a whole new spin. Bring your friends and come on in. Take your taste to a different
Land of Frost Premium is America's best-selling 1-pound deli pouch, now available in 12 delicious flavors, including new flavors of mesquite turkey and cotto salami. High school athletes across the country ask for Land of Frost by name. These great items are available at your local grocer, including Piggly Wiggly, Food Giant, Western supermarkets, and many more. Land of Frost also makes other varieties of lunch meats, including deli shaved bistro and sub sandwich kits. Land of Frost is a proud sponsor of youth sports as well.
At Andrews Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine and orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine with shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Andrews Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, post-operative decisions, pre-operative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making. That gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them. We're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing and as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Andrews Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.
And folks, welcome back. As you can tell, I got two outstanding young athletes sitting beside me. On the football team, sitting closest to me, Sawyer Pate, a senior quarterback, and next to him, Carson Rocket, a senior linebacker. All right, we'll start with you, Sawyer. First of all, going into this season, what were your expectations for not only yourself but for your teammates?
You know, I think our expectations, you know, they don't change from year to year, you know, to win state championship and, you know, just to be as great as we can as a team and, you know, just come in as one and be one family.
Well, I was going to say, going into this year, you guys have been part of a very successful program. And so those expectations, you said if we can do that year, then we ought to be able to do it our year, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Carson, how about you? Has this year surprised you at all, and then what were your expectations for you personally?
Expectations for me were the same, to get back to the state championship. I'm not surprised at all because we've been working hard ever since the day of the state championship. People were back in here on the weight room the very next day, already working out, getting ready for the next season, and we've always been looked at as kind of the down year group because we don't have as many big-time recruits, but that's kind of pushed us to work harder, and I'm not surprised by not having a drop-off.
Well, that and you're talking about the big-time recruits, it sort of makes you want to work to be the best you can possibly be, right? And so one thing I do know, like Sawyer, when you look at that schedule, is there a team on there that you look forward to playing more than another one?
There's a couple. I'd say, like, you know, just like Hoover and Vestavia, Mountain Brook, because, you know, I've played them all my life, and, you know, it's just good to beat them and, you know, to be on top. Yeah. And how about you, Carson? Is there one that you'd rather play than another?
All the games are really important, especially in Region 3 because it's such a tough region. But I'd have to say the same, the Hoovers and the Vestavias and the Mountain Brooks, just because we always those always seem to be the most physical games where we hit the hardest and play the hardest. So.
When you guys being seniors, hopefully off to college somewhere next year, and first of all, and we'll start with you, Sawyer. You know where you're going to go?
I do not right now. I'm just waiting for the right time to pick where I want to go. And I just got to see where the season leads to.
So right now there's an opportunity. You may have more than one or two schools to pick from.
I would say so, but with the recruiting processes, it's hard to dictate where you're going to go.
Absolutely. Well, down the road, if you don't end up playing, and which we hope you are, being a star in college, maybe on the pro ball one year, down the road, have you got any idea or have you thought that far along what you might like to do one day?
Probably some type of engineering. I'm really good at math, and I just like putting stuff together and making them function.
Now, if you could go, we'll switch this way to be a whole lot easier to answer. If you could go to any college you wanted to, where would you go?
Probably Auburn.
Really?
They have a good engineering program, and I've always been an Auburn fan my whole life.
I'll pray for you. But I have to pray for everybody else too. So don't get me wrong. That fantastic school, they just happen to be the enemy. If you're a Bama fan, All right. And so, how about you, Carson?
I'm just kind of waiting right now till the season settles down and everything to kind of sort out stuff and talk with my family and everything about maybe where some options might be and where I'd fit in the best. And
yeah,
stuff.
If you could go anywhere you wanted to go, where would it be?
South Alabama has been one of my dream schools.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, now guys, I know a couple of things about you before you even sit down. One, that you're outstanding students. If you don't qualify in the classroom, we don't make it that football field, do we?
Yes,
and you're outstanding students, because if you don't qualify, period, you don't get out of here, do we?
Yes,
so with that in mind, I know that you spend a lot of time studying, a lot of time practicing and playing. Now, here's what I want to know. And Sawyer, we'll start with you. What does Sawyer do to just relax and unwind after a hard day at the office, in the classroom, and on the practice field?
We watch film when I get home, and have dinner, but after I do that, I just sit and watch Netflix, or I just watch whatever's on TV or a football game, just to relax.
Well, are you a superstitious guy?
It is.
What kind of little superstitions might you have that drive you?
So on Fridays, I have the same schedule. I eat and then eat breakfast, and I have the same schedule throughout the day. And I wear the same clothes, the same undershirt. It's just superstitious.
Really? Yeah, I'm going to tell you something about that in just a minute, okay? All right, how about you, Carson?
I try not to be superstitious. Sometimes it happens. So
you try not to, but it does.
I try to get myself out of it, but I guess one thing that I always make sure to use the same color tape and tape the same way before every game. Yeah,
well, now I'm going to tell you the truth about all that, okay? Here's the bottom line truth: none of that does any good at all. Now, mentally, we think it does,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So that gives us a little mental edge. But when it comes right down to it, it's your talent, your ability, and the way you and your teammates play together that really make all those differences. But some reason in the back of our head, we get to thinking, But I know you enjoy football. You participate in any other sports?
I stopped playing baseball a couple years back to focus on football.
Okay. How about you, Carson? You play?
I used to play baseball as well. I'm thinking about maybe doing track this off season.
Really? Well, now a lot of times when athletes do other sports, it's one that will help them.
Right.
in the other sport as well, and multiple sports. So, but the biggest thing is enjoying what you do and putting everything you got into it, because you'd hate to look back and say, if I'd have tried a little bit harder, I might have been a little better. But it sounds like from listening to the coach and listening to you guys that you got your priorities straight, and to be the best you can be, you don't give anything but your best, right? Well, listen, guys, I wish you, both of you are seniors, and I wish you all the luck in the world as you head off to college. And the last question that I got, and we'll start with you, Carson, who's been the most inspirational person or persons in your life?
The most inspirational person would have to be my dad, because he instilled my work ethic in me. So I always look up to him when he's working extra or going the extra mile. I always look up to that and say that that's what I need to be doing so I can be successful.
Okay. And how about you?
I'd say the same about my dad. The stuff he does and the way he carries himself, it rubs off on myself, and I just take that and then just put it to my everyday life and how I work.
Well, I tell you what, guys, it's been awfully good to see you. This coming weekend, biggest game of the season thus far. They're all big, but the next one is the biggest, right?
Yes, sir.
Wish you all the luck in the world. And Thompson, it looked good, that state championship trophy being here at Thompson High School.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Good
sir.
luck, guys.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. We come back, different coaches, different players. Don't you go away. We'll be right back.
And this will be your premium right here.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say I combined home and auto with State Farm.
Saved $760.
Love this guy.
Okay, does it bother anybody else that the mime is talking? Freaky.
Bundle home and auto, and you could save $760.
That's 760 very good reasons to call Alan Gurdeau in Trussville today.
And folks, welcome back. As you can tell, I got a different coach sitting beside me now. We're going to be talking a little Thompson track, and of course, this is Coach Chris Smith. And Coach, before we get into talking about your team and what's going on with y'all this particular year, give us a little bit of background for people that might be seeing you for the first time and what has led you here to Thompson High School.
This is my 21st year of teaching and 20th year coaching. I've been blessed for the past 20 years. I actually taught elementary school in the classroom for 20 years, and this is my first year at the high school, so I think I have the best job in the world. I get to mold young minds in the classroom, and at the same time, I get to mold young athletes into young citizens and for our community.
Right.
My coaching career began at Daphne High School with Savarese. Hired me back when I was 22 years old.
Wow.
And I coached there, and after that I went to Spanish Fort when it opened up. Won the first 3 state titles at Spanish Fort High School.
Wow.
After that I was commuted, I went up to Scottsboro, Alabama. A few state championships up there, a whole mess of runner-ups too. And then Coach Freeman called me and said, hey, you need to come down south and be closer to home. And he did it right. He called my wife first and found a position for her, and that led me back here to Thompson and in Birmingham area. And this is my my 4th year here as the head cross country and track and field coach at Thompson.
When you talking about from this area, you from?
Oh no, I didn't mean this area, but heading towards farther south. I apologize.
Oh yeah, because you told me I think you started out in the south.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Well, now do you coach both the guys and girls?
Yes, sir. Guys and girls.
Okay, now here's the question I would ask there. What kind of challenge is that? Because I mean, we're talking about different kind of athletes with different kinds of abilities.
You know what? It's actually easier than it sounds because you use the keyword athletes. I don't separate girls and guys.
Right.
The time doesn't lie, the clock doesn't lie, so it's kind of based on at your level, regardless if you're a guy or girl, that's the group you're in. So, you might be, my number 1 girl might run with my number 14 guy. Right. Or then again, my number 30 guy might run, with my number 10 girl. So, I do tweak the mileage a little bit and sometimes the workouts. But other than that, they're athletes, and that's how I look at them. They're all athletes, and, I don't put a difference between female and male athletes.
Well, and the reason I asked you that, I've had some other coaches that say that, yes, they run with each other because it's almost a challenge in a positive way.
Yes, it
if
is.
you use it positively. And so what got you into coaching track? Did you start out just as a teacher?
Well, actually, started running back in the early 80s, the fitness 80s, where my parents began running. And age 7, I ran my first race, a mile at 6:12, and ran middle school, high school, ran at college at South Alabama, tried to run a little bit afterwards. And I was teaching. I just fell in love with my classroom. I taught elementary school. I taught kindergarten for my first 3 years teaching.
Really?
And a buddy of mine called, and he was the head baseball coach and the head cross-country coach at Daphne High School, and said, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I need your help. And it kind of started from there.
So the rest is sort of history,
Yes,
right?
sir. I've been very blessed and, throughout all these years. great young individuals.
Well, then you have seen the growth in both young men and especially young ladies in whatever events, but especially in track. And so back to where we would almost always think track is a guy's sport. We find out it's not. And the ladies are a lot more athletic than we give them credit for sometimes. So how have you found that? Has that been sort of the trend? And have you seen the popularity, for lack of a better way to use, increase in the field of track?
Yes, sir. It's kind of based with the community you're at. When I was at Scottsboro, our girls had 13 consecutive state championships.
Wow.
We were tied for number 3 all time in the country. And then Mountain Brook just tied us a few years back. Women's cross country and track is the it sport. And cross country track is becoming more and more popular here at Thompson, which I'm getting excited.
Mm-hmm.
In the Birmingham area, cross country and track is huge.
Right.
Very, very popular. And, you have some of the best, if not the best athletes here in the Birmingham area.
I know I've got a granddaughter that runs track at Hewitt-Trussville, and she's a senior this year, and so she's been at it quite a while, and I've had other grandkids play varsity sports, but she's the trackster of all of them. And so you've seen that sport really grow through the years and the importance of it. Not that we mean it's a minor sport. That's not what we're saying at all. But like you said, you've seen a growth in the competition aspect of it. And so how many years is this here for you at Thompson?
This is year 4 for me at Thompson.
Okay, so I imagine, I would be surprised if you tell me any different, that you've seen some progression in your program.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes,
because
sir.
You seem to be like one of these guys that takes your track coach just as serious as anybody else takes theirs.
Oh, we do. Our program on the cross-country side has really developed. I've got a young man right now running 15-13 for 5K, which is actually 87th in the country, and if you just go a few seconds faster, he's top 25.
Right.
We've come a long way with cross country. Last year I had Mackenzie Hogue, who's Samford University of Samford's #1 runner. Her first collegiate race, she won. So, she was one of the best in the state, if not top 25 in the country last year. So, Thompson's doing a heck of a job, and we have the athletes here, and, it's exciting to work with them.
Well, now when then you're one of the coaches, and I tell track coaches this all the time, y'all work year-round because you have cross-country, indoor, which is minimal, and outdoor. But through the years, you've seen a growth in your sport. And is that growth period still like it's extending now?
I believe it is.
Do you think, let me ask you this, don't mean to interrupt you, the concussion deal in football, with all of a sudden the parents are taking notice and all this kind of stuff, have you seen some of the kids geared toward track a little bit?
I don't know about that. I know Coach Freeman and Mark and I have a fantastic relationship where his special team guys, his running backs, his wide receivers, they come out to our track team. We had a handful of guys that were on our 4x1 team last year. They were 3rd in the state, and they're all coming back. So we have a great relationship, and I know Coach Freeman trusts me and trusts my sprint coaches, and he knows that we're doing our job to get his guys better. And at the same time, it's making our team a well-rounded team. So it's a win-win situation for both of us.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, it sounds like you found a home, very content, and it's even more so when it makes the missus happy, But more important than that, that makes you and these young athletes the big winners. And so I know your team has done very well thus far this year. I hope you continue to do so. And I know you want to bring a few of those trophies back home to Thompson, right?
Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir.
But nice to meet you, and best of luck to you and your team the whole year. I get to say this the whole year about those track coaches.
Well, I appreciate
and
that.
We're going to take a quick break. We come back, we're going to visit with a couple of your players and see a little bit more about what goes on with them as well. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't you go away.
Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven. A taste of heaven is always that you're blessed. Give your taste a whole new spin. Bring your friends and come on in. Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven.
The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors. A company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their number one objective.
At Andrews Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine, orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine, shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Andrews Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, post-operative decisions, pre-operative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making. That gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them, we're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing and as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Andrews Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.
And folks, welcome back. As you can tell, I got another young group of athletes here, and they are tracksters. Sitting closest to me, Jace Jones, a senior, cross country, right?
Yes, sir.
Commit to Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Smart guy. A guy a while ago was going to Auburn. I told him I'd pray for him. But two great schools, though. That's terrific. Abby Grace Walker, senior.
Yes, sir.
And cross country as well, and Emily Allen, junior, cross country. Now, as I said something to the coach about this, track is a different type of animal. It's all year long, and where the coaches almost don't get a break. What I want to ask you, and we'll start with you, Jace, do you participate in any other sports, or are you a real year-round trackster?
Well, starting out in 9th grade year, I played football as well, but I kind of transitioned to be full round, just track and running.
Oh, okay. Having said that, which season is your favorite?
It used to be track, but now I'm kind of it doesn't really matter either one. I like both of them now.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty equal.
Okay. Abby, how about you?
I did the same thing as Jace. I used to play volleyball and basketball, and I ran track in middle school, and then in high school I transferred over to just running. But cross country is definitely my favorite because you're running in the trails, and it's just a lot different atmosphere than track meets.
Yeah, now, the cross country, like you said, it is completely different, but you're year-round track, right?
Yes.
Okay. And how about you, Emily?
I've always just been year-round running, but I would have to say that cross country is definitely my favorite one.
Okay. Now what you say that's your favorite? What is the thing about cross country that makes you enjoy it more than the other one?
Kind of like Abby Grace said, just the atmosphere and the people.
Right. Now, and we'll start with you, Jace. When you're running in the cross country in particular, where does your mind wander to? Is it music, or is it is there a certain group you got to keep up with if you want to be there toward the end? Yeah, just talk about that a second.
Yeah, you got to really stay towards, if you're wanting to win the race, you got to really stay towards the front part of the pack. You can't ever really, like, sit in the back of the pack like you can in track races and then just kick at the end. Cross country is more of a long race, but you got to stay towards the front because everybody strands out during the race, so you have to stay towards the front and then stay mentally focused during the race.
Now, Abby Grace, one thing about cross country is it's almost like an obstacle course at times, isn't it? So which part do you like, the smoother terrain where you can maybe run a little better, or the up and down where you sort of have to watch what you're doing as you're running, right?
Yes, sir. I don't really know. I like the trails and stuff. I don't like straight like grass fields because it gets really boring. With trails, there's always something to look at, and there's animals and birds and
okay.
That kind
Now,
of
when
thing.
you're going on your cross country a trail, how long is that?
A 5K. We run a 5K, which is 3.1 miles.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So there's really not a whole lot of time to let your mind, quote unquote, wander, is there? You have to be cognizant of what you're doing. Emily, talk about the challenges for you and how you set up in your mind what you need to do and what you hope to do.
I think the challenges would probably be just getting where you need to be and staying there, like no matter what's happening around you. And
You have to stay then, don't mean to interrupt you, but you have to sort of stay somewhere around the leading groups, don't you?
Yeah.
And make sure you don't fall back too far.
if you fall back, it's
All
gonna.
right, well, you're aware of where you are, okay? You're always aware of where you are. What's in your mind? What different thoughts? You can't play music or nothing like that, can you? Because it's too short a distance to do something like that. So what are you thinking as you're going along?
I try to think about like, okay, I have to catch this next girl and like keep moving up and just try
Yeah.
to stay focused on the race.
Okay. All right, now listen, so I know you three athletes are year-round track warriors, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I know two things about you before you even sit down. One, that you're good in the classroom, or you would not make it to the track, right? And then, of course, the competition that you have. So what I want to know, and we'll start with you, Jace, what do you do to unwind from a tough day in the classroom and on the track?
Honestly, the tougher days in the classroom, I always do better in the track because it keeps me focused during the day, and I don't really like get all tired during the day from being bored. So the harder days of doing more work, I honestly do better on the track. Keeps me busier.
That's an interesting aspect of it. Yeah. You're strange, you know that?
Yeah.
Jace, don't mean that ugly. Whatever works, right?
Yes,
Abby Grace, what about you?
Honestly, I'm a really busy person. So with school and all my clubs and extracurriculars and like leadership stuff that I'm involved in, I really don't have a lot of time to wind down. But when I do, I usually go to my grandparents' house and I spend time with them in my extra time, and my grandmother fixes me dinner or whatever.
Oh, yes. Now, what you're trying to tell me is she fixes you whatever you want.
Yes, sir.
I know what the grannies do. Yes, I do. How about you, Emily?
I'm kind of like Jace. I definitely use running as a way to wind down after like a long day at school.
Okay. Now, and we'll ask you, Emily, while we're talking to you, are you superstitious? Do you have to do things a certain way? And be honest.
Yeah.
Give me an example.
Like the things I eat leading up to a race, I try to stick with the same.
No, you don't. Yes, you do. Okay. Is there anything else?
I think that's the only one.
Yeah, you don't have to. It's not nothing with your wearing apparel. It's got to be this way, that way, or anything like that, right? I see Abby, you shaking your head a little bit. What about you?
I used to be really funny about my socks, and I'd wear the same certain pair of socks. I wear the same necklace every year, I haven't raced a race without it, and then I wear the same earrings. So.
Bless your heart. You ever lost any earrings?
No, I have not.
It might change that.
Yeah.
Jace, how about you?
I usually wear the same. Honestly, leading up to the race, like warming up, I usually try to do the exact same thing. Like up until about 10 minutes to go until the race, I'd try and listen to music just to keep myself focused. But then I'll have the same pair of socks, and that's really the only thing besides my spikes that I'll wear in my uniform.
Okay.
So I'll have everything.
Well, I got one question to ask you, and I know the coach will be listening when I ask this one. Are we ready for a cross-country championship?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We're not going for second, right?
No.
No.
No. Okay. Well, the last question I got, and y'all have been a pleasant little conversation with you guys, and we'll start with you, Emily. To this point in your young life, who's been the most inspirational person or persons?
I don't know. My coaches have always inspired me to keep working harder.
Okay. How about you, Emily?
For me, it was a little boy I met in a classroom who had autism and epilepsy, and he passed away about 2 years ago. But ever since then, he taught me what I want to be when I grow up and how to make every day 10 times better, even if it seems like it's going to be bad.
Okay. How about you, Jace?
I'd say my coach, Coach Schmidt, he's caught me on the middle side of not going after each little rep on workouts and stuff, not focusing on the entire workout, just whichever rep's in front of you. You just got to go after the first rep in front of you and it turn into a good workout.
Okay. My last challenge to you guys, the last race you run, and when you get in that championship race around there, might as well break that track cross-country home to Thompson,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to y'all, okay?
Thank you.
Folks, we're going to take a quick break. We come back, another coach, different athletes. Don't you go away. We'll be right back.
And this will be your premium right here.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say I combined home and auto with State Farm.
Saved $760.
Love this guy.
Okay, does it bother anybody else that the mime is talking? Freaky.
Bundle home and auto, and you could save $760.
That's 760 very good reasons to call Alan Gurdeau in Trussville today.
Land of Frost Premium is America's best-selling 1-pound deli pouch, now available in 12 delicious flavors, including new flavors of mesquite turkey and cotto salami. High school athletes across the country ask for Land of Frost by name. These great items are available at your local grocer, including Piggly Wiggly, Food Giant, Western supermarkets, and many more. Land of Frost also makes other varieties of lunch meats, including deli shaved bistro and sub sandwich kits. Land of Frost is a proud sponsor of youth sports as well. And folks, welcome back. As you can tell, I got another coach and two outstanding young athletes. It's volleyball this time. We're talking one with Coach Judy Green. Coach, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Isabel, is it Goolsby?
Yes, sir.
And Emma Huner?
That's right.
Well, okay, I was 3 for 3 on this. We can stop this interview now. No. Coach, as we get started very quickly, tell me how you got here to Thompson.
Well, it's kind of a short, long story. Okay. One of my former players that I coached at the University of Montevallo, Carla Ragland, is a physical education teacher here, and she is a previous volleyball coach at Thompson. And when the position opened up, she called me and she goes, "I know you're not in coaching right now, but how would you feel about coming to Thompson?" I said, "Well, let's get together, talk about it, and rest is history." And here I am.
Well, good for you. So how many years have you been a coach through the years?
Well, this is my 34th year of coaching in volleyball,
right.
And have just had a wonderful and grateful career.
Okay. And so the two players we're talking with, Isabel, tell me a little bit about your background. Is volleyball the only sport you participate in? Or?
Recently, it's the only sport I've played, but when I was younger, I played basketball and everything. But
okay. Now, what steered you toward volleyball over basketball?
When I was younger, I would say more of my friends played volleyball, and so I gravitated towards it, and then I fell in love with it.
Okay, well, good. Now, Emma, have you got a story quite like that, or is it a little bit different?
Well, when I was younger, I played tennis for about 10 years. And then I stopped around freshman year, and at 7th grade, I saw all my friends try out for the middle school team, so I thought, why not?
And the rest is history for you. Okay. So both you girls seniors,
yes, sir.
Right? Do you know where you're off to college next year?
Most likely, I'm going to go to South Alabama.
South Alabama. Do you hope to play volleyball or?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you ever thought down the road one day you might like to be a volleyball coach?
Maybe, I think so.
Really? Would teaching be something you might like to do one day, or you got something else sort of in mind?
I'm looking at physical therapy right now,
Okay.
so probably not teaching.
Okay, well, that's all right.
Mom's a teacher.
How about you, Emma? As you head off to school, do you know where you'll be going?
I'm planning on going to Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. Two great things come out of Mississippi. Me and Elvis. But he got in an electrical truck. I got in a mail truck. But the rest is history. Coach, tell us a little bit about this year's team, how they're doing. Do you look like you got a chance to do some damage in the playoffs?
Well, we do. We think we do. And, you know, this team has worked really hard since June. And we've been together really training since the end of June. And we put a lot of hours in, a lot of summer scrimmages, a lot of camps, and just spent a lot of time really getting to know each other and develop relationships. And right now we're sitting at 30 wins. And we're getting ready to finish up our regular season tomorrow at Pelham. And then we will open state playoffs next week in our area tournament at Hoover when we play Oak Mountain.
Okay, and it's a match against Pelham, neighborhood rivalry?
Well, we still call it the Highway 31 rivalry, I think. You know, I'm not so sure it's still as big a rivalry as it used to be since we've kind of switched divisions and, you know, but I think every sport here at Thompson still, you know, really treasures the opportunity to try to keep that alive.
Right. Well, now, girls, do you feel like that, and we'll start with you, Isabel, you think y'all are playing your best volleyball now, or is the best still ahead of you?
I think there's always room to grow, but I feel like we're definitely uphill right now.
Because one thing about it, and Emma, I don't know how you feel about it, but you always want to peak come playoff time. So do you think you and your teammates are playing some of your best volleyball right now?
I would say we are, but just like Isabel said, we can always be better. So.
Yeah. Now, coaches, as you, one thing I've always enjoyed asking volleyball coaches and coaches such as yourself, do you still recruit in the hall?
You know, I really don't.
I was going to say, or have we gotten away from that?
Well, I think a little bit. I mean, I think that there is a lot of recruitment coming out of our sixth grade. You know, in our middle school, the coaches are, you know, talking to the physical education teachers about, you know, who are the most athletic girls that, you know, we have in those grades, and then trying to pull them over to volleyball. And, you know, kind of like Isabel and Emma, once you play it and once you get hooked, you're hooked.
Right. Well, is this now? What year is this here?
For me, it's my fifth year here.
Oh, your fifth year, okay. So you have seen the sport grow a little bit, I would say, because you were talking about not necessarily recruiting in the hall anymore, because you've got young athletes that are coming along year after year playing your sport. So talk about the growth in girls' sports overall.
Well, I think overall, I mean, you know, volleyball right now is the #1 participation sport in the country. And I think that, you know, girls now have the opportunity to play club volleyball in the off season, and they're not just limited to 2.5 months in the fall, because if you only did it for 2.5 months, you wouldn't get any better. So there's just club opportunities. There's you know, now the High School Athletic Association allows us as coaches in the off season to do small group training, and I think those opportunities are valuable when you're trying to build a program.
Well, Coach, we wish you all the luck in the world. And
Thank you.
Girls, I know as we're getting ready to play the volleyball tournament that you girls feel real positive about yourself. The last question that I've got, and we'll start with you, Isabel, to this point in your young life, who's been the most inspirational person or persons?
I would say my dad. Probably. He's been a big role model for me and really shown me how to work for something on the court and off.
Oh, okay, good. Your dad, Emma?
I would probably say my granddad. He just teaches me, like, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. You just have to go out there, do your best, and glorify God in whatever you do. So.
Well, I tell you what, you're delightful young ladies. Both of you are seniors, so I wish you all the luck in the world once you leave college and whichever direction you want to head to in your life, okay? Coach, best of luck to you in the upcoming future with you and your teams.
Thank you very much.
Folks, we've had another outstanding season, a show with 3 outstanding coaches and outstanding athletes. We'll do it again next week. But to then, you know what the snapper always says, bicycle.
Everybody say bicycle.
Bicycle.
At Injury Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine and orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine with shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Injury Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, postoperative decisions, preoperative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making. That gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them, we're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing and as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Injury Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.